All right, we got a little Hall of Shame moment here. I absolutely annihilated the floor pan here until it split with a giant hammer. This is Lucky's king of the self-tapper scenario, making half a tunnel here, just kind of like a patch panel. And not to be outdone, Russo came back in with a Sawzall at some point. Please take a second to go over to the Stay Tuned merch store. We've got a rack of shirts from the original Stay Tuned shirt, Angelo's Gym. We're gonna lose the shop, and my new Firebird shirt. Check it out, and there's lots of stickers too. Welcome back to Stay Tuned. I'm Tony Angelo. This is my YouTube channel, and today we're working on one of the coolest cars we ever put together. This is a 1991 Mercedes-Benz SL500. As you may hear, it sounds like basically no other SL500 on the planet, and here's why. Pop the hood.
Pop the hood?
Pop the hood. 2JZ engine, no shit.
As you can see, this thing is packing a Toyota 2JZ, the legendary 3-liter inline 6-cylinder that came in the Toyota Supra and makes all sorts of ungodly power with very little modifications. This is a VVTi model. These are 24-valve, iron block, aluminum head, originally twin turbo. We just slapped a turbocharger on this thing, big injectors, and AEM management, and made 575 horsepower. These things are legendary, and honestly, they deserve all the hype. So after it was done filming, this car got sold by MotorTrend. Russo scooped it up and has wanted to really put some miles on it because it's an awesome car. Chassis is killer, engine is killer, and it just never happened. But we're gonna fix that.
Just hanging out there. No hanger life?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's one.
There's one. This is the first thing I ever TIG welded. You take this, yeah, this is some old ragweed from California. What is this? We need like a weird two-piece drive shaft.
Got like a big.
We whip this thing together. That's what you do on TV shows. You get them ready in like 4 days, build a whole car, and just whip it out. That's what we did here. This is a car I bought cheap at auction. I love the idea of having a manual swap. We wound up putting in a Gearstar 4L65, and the issue was we always kept blowing through the converter, and because of the way this had to be adapted, you can't, and there's a big adapter plate that goes from the 2JZ engine to the Chevy style torque converter. We couldn't run a big enough converter to handle the kind of power this thing makes, and that was the big issue. So what we're gonna do now is make this thing a proper manual 6-speed. Russo wants to row his own gears, turn this thing into a really, really fun car. And like I said, it's barely been used. We slapped it together. There's definitely some stuff we're gonna, beef up. I didn't put any hangers on the exhaust, stuff like that. There's no blow-off valve on it. We're gonna attend to some of those things, but the first thing is, let's get this transmission out and start looking at putting in a very cool setup. Yep, we were up against it with this build, so I remember coming in on like a Saturday and welding this exhaust together. If I recall, this is the first thing I ever TIG welded. I think Finnegan popped in and gave me some tips on how to get started. She really heat sealed herself in there.
Yeah. I couldn't even get it to spin.
I had that problem with the RX-7. Nice and light, at least.
The old boom tube.
Looks JDM, but it's MagnaFlow.
That was my goal, dude.
I love it.
Round muffler, stick it out at a crooked angle, Japanese style. Straight initial D right there, buddy. That's how they did it. That's how we did it.
MagnaFlow mufflers. A lot of things happening.
I don't really know what's happening. So there's a starter gear and some giant plate, an adapter, and then another plate.
I understand.
Yeah. America starts right here.
Yeah, that's where I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big hole.
What?
Right there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make a tunnel. We didn't make a tunnel for this at the time. You did that? Just with a saw?
Sorry.
Or like a
With
hatchet?
a butter knife, dude?
This was at a last resort.
I did that with a sledgehammer for sure.
Spooky. Do some Halloween shit.
Hey, you gotta move quick. TV stuff.
Oh, there's a shop.
Quick, make the transmission fit. Give me a hammer. Boom, boom, done. Mercedes-Benz guys are like crazy purists. Like every forum post that's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this to your car is 80 dudes screaming at you, but Mercedes designed it perfectly. Don't change anything. That's a crazy idea. So obviously we couldn't ask them how to put a 2JZ engine in. And one guy, when he saw what we were doing in his car, told us to tread, very seriously, tread carefully. This car was hand-built by German rocket scientists. Tread carefully. So for the whole episode, we just
American
laughed.
idiot with sledgehammer.
Insert my dumbass and a sledgehammer to make it fit. There you go. We were treading real careful right
Who
there.
needs engineers? Drill a hole in it so it drains.
Okay.
You hold that and catch it. Where should I go? In a corner or like back? Or
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I like this technique.
Oh, this is a good idea.
DIY drain plug. Wait.
Don't you need this pen?
We'll make them weld it back together. Better go hard. Get through it quick. Stop. Good.
It's lubricated. It's pretty cool.
Being lazy, I think.
You know damn well it would have made more of a mess.
It's true. We did minimize some mess here probably.
got,
You
like,
can
6
theoretically like loosen up the different rails and like get it the pan to kind of cant down in one direction and then catch it off the corner, but I've never had much
No, it never works.
success doing that.
Fluid looks good.
It does.
Doesn't smell
How's
burnt.
it taste?
Like cherries.
All right, so Zim is draining the transmission fluid out. I'm removing the drive shaft. We've got a better plan.
Damn.
This is what's going in there. Russo picked up a manual 6-speed conversion adapter setup. This is a 350Z CD009 Nissan box. People put these behind all sorts of stuff that makes a lot of horsepower because they're relatively affordable and they're relatively strong. They're about half the price of a T56 these days. This one is actually already set up for the VVTi 2JZ motor. It's got the Collins adapter. This is a special Collins/Tilton twin plate 7¼ inch flywheel and clutch assembly. And this is a sweet, sweet bunch of kit. It's gonna work awesome. These are super short throws, tight gears, 2 overdrives. Very, very sweet. One big problem is that it's enormous and we have to fit it in that little hole. So step 1 is gonna be take it out, measure the kind of space we got.
Yeah, but there's gonna be some Sawzall action.
Oh yeah, we're coming in there hot. Those seats are coming out, at least.
I don't know if they're gonna fit back in.
Yeah, you might have to get some small seats. But
Okay. Bonk.
there she goes. That is involved. It's fancy. That's not going back in.
German engineering.
Yes, sir. This is a 265 rear gear. So she's going to be geared to go 240, 250 probably. Get her out on the PA turnpike and see what she'll do. Allegedly.
Yeah. Professional driver, close course.
Yeah.
Is that convertible stuff?
Converter bolts. Get the wiring off this thing and pull it out.
The way the oil pan fits in the subframe, like it matches,
It's wild.
which kind of makes my head hurt a little bit.
It's wild.
Because it looks right. You'll learn someday when you're older. This one's not even there, so at least we don't have to do that one.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's one in the center, so there might only be 5.
Quick change.
5 seems like enough.
Yeah. You only really need 3. I mean, we already drilled a hole in the pan. Nice. Good?
Yeah, real good.
Gear Star.
All right, we got a little Hall of Shame moment here. This is just like I said, we do stuff quick and dirty just to get it on camera and ready to rock. I absolutely annihilated the floor pan here until it split with a giant hammer, just so that the shifter could live in here. I remember just going nuts with it. And then at one point I did put a nutsert in here when we cut off the front of where the transmission mount went. This is Lucky's King of the Self-Tapper scenario, making half a tunnel here, just kind of like a patch panel. And not to be outdone, Russo came back in with a Sawzall at some point because he wanted to inspect the transmission vent or
From
something.
inside.
Cut through all this metal and just kind of bent it out of the way and left it. So
Did you do that from the inside of the car?
Yeah, it's a little peekaboo.
a little peekaboo, a little peekaboo panel. That's what he calls it.
It's my favorite.
Real nice stuff. But we're gonna try to spend a couple more minutes to do a little bit more solid job, get this thing ready to go down the road. But step one is actually gonna be make the transmission physically fit in this relatively small space. Yeah.
It's a foot wide there,
Okay.
which is that.
Is it close?
Yeah,
Yeah, my concern is not that. It's where the tunnel next down here.
right here.
Yeah.
It might not be that far off.
Love to hear it.
Can you hold the motor?
Come on. There she goes.
Or steel?
It's aluminum, but the ring is steel. It's like
I see.
pinned on. Okay, so this is the setup that's going back in the car. This is a Nissan CD009 transmission out of like a 350Z. This is a full adapted setup for the 2JZ. Russo just was on Facebook. Actually, I was on Facebook and found this setup. This is a Collins adapter. I believe that this is still a Toyota piece that comes in the kit. You take your transmission, you just chop the front end of it off with a little angle grinder. That's already done for us because this was actually in a Supra for a minute. And then it's running a very nasty Tilton twin plate 7 1/4 inch clutch, and this is the tiny flywheel for it. So pretty killer setup. We've got all the hardware we think for it, and then Russo found straight from the motherland a set of brake and clutch pedals. I think from a E series W124 that was diesel. And it has, what's really cool is that it actually has the hydraulic cylinder, the master cylinder for the clutch, just integrated into this unit. So it's gonna bolt, we think, right up in the car. So that's pretty cool. Right now, like I said, step one is just physically fit this big monster up in the car. See what kind of hacking, cutting, grinding, and general praying we've got to do. It's you, baby. Pray to the god of speed.
It does.
Yeah,
It's really-
bang!
It's not the Firebird, but
No, it's pretty solid.
it's close.
I looked, actually, this transmission, if I got it right, is 1 overdrive, but has a super deep first gear, like a 378. So this car is a 265 rear gear, and we were looking to upgrade it, but I think we're just gonna try it the way it is, because with that crazy first short gear, this thing should still jam pretty hard out of the hole. And we'll be able to tow with it and stuff too with that granny gear. Just kidding. Maybe.
Drag and drive?
Yeah, you can drive. Let's drag and drive. We'll tow some trailers with this bad boy.
There we go.
What's up? Okay. This might not be heavy than that one.
I don't think it is, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep. You want to come down a little bit yet?
Got down further than I thought it would go.
Keep going. All right, check it.
Good.
Yeah. Dude, we might be in business here.
Can't even see it. We need to go up another.
It's a magic trick.
There's no way. I can see daylight the whole way around this thing.
Okay, that's wild. I mean, if we get really that close, we can throw a couple bolts in it and see about removing some material. I don't know, that's spooky.
Yeah, that's not what I was picturing at all.
All right, well, we have test fit the CDO09 box in the Mercedes, and honestly, it looks way better than I ever expected. I thought we would be in here cutting, fabricating, welding a new tunnel in there, and it seems to fit really, really close. It'd be a little bit of work, but not bad. I thought we'd spend a day doing it. I was not looking forward to it. One thing you might have noticed is that Michael Barb-Leonardo's not here, old Barb. He's on something called a vacation.
I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it. I never heard of it. But he sends a picture. Here he is. He's drinking straight out of a coconut. I don't know why he's wearing a sweater on the beach. Oh, that's his chest hair. Never mind. There he is. Give him a little rub his chest. Good job.
Pat on the head.
He's off. He's off. We're gonna hold it down for him. Here's Finn again. It's our row of buddies. There's Finn on some wire care zip ties. Give him a little rub.
He just looks stoked to be here.
He is. That dude is genuinely stoked most of the time. We will, I don't know, pull it down, probably fix some of that metal, and really try to fit this thing. I'm excited about it.
Island boy.
That's him. We good? He thinks we're working on our Lincoln engine teardown this week, but we're gonna save that for him because he's our Ford guy, and that was kind of his idea. He got us in that mess. He can help get us out of it. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's see what we got. He's in Puerto Rico. Got a coconut. He's got a coconut in each hand.
Can't.
Straws coming out of
answer.
it. What up, dude?
Palm trees in the back.
How are you?
I'm living the dream.
Oh, of course.
Look at him, shirtless, drinking. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. Fantastic.
What are you guys doing?
He's in front of the palm trees.
Of course he is.
We are working on a car, without you. We're doing the heavy tear down scenario on this Lincoln, man.
The one that you don't like to work on?
Yes. Actually, speaking of not feeling like working on that, what we're doing instead is we are working on Russo's 2JZ Mercedes this week. Yeah, because
Holy cow.
we're going to save that Ford product for you when you come back. We don't want to do it without you.
I knew there was a catch here.
Yes, sir. So this will be us.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah,
I love it.
that's the idea. We wanted to save it for our local Ford guy. You have a great week in paradise, and we will get back to grinding over here. All right.
Yeah, have fun.
Oh, that's all we do.
Enjoy it.
All right.
You guys look like you're having fun over there.
Yep. All right.
Keep knocking them out.
Later, buddy.
Later.
He was less upset than I thought. Yeah, let's do 3 people.
Yeah. Big
Grab the
baby.
back. I'll put the front up. Yep. There you go. Okay.
Damn.
So the back's got to come way up.
Okay.
You're like super crooked. Yeah, it's got to go at a pretty level. Keep going. There you go.
Oh yeah, I poured it on.
That's fine.
Or something, I don't know.
Yeah, this
That's
one's.
your area of expertise, I'd say.
I'm just gonna hit it with a hammer till it fits.
Okay. That's not exactly what I was thinking, but
Well, it's gonna work. I should really like do
we're
that.
just missing that other one.
Yeah, I'll cut it.
Hold on, flip it. Oh no, that's not gonna work. Never mind.
I'll cut it like here. Take like a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch out, and slide this over, and we'll be right there. I'm deep. Fun fact: I hate sheet metal work. I don't think that one's even grabbing anything. Precision. Oh, this one might be a little harder. No. I got it. This is some cheap metal here. Waiting for the balls. I'm gonna cut there. Take 7/8 out. Tack it together.
Put a little bend on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be in business. It's lined up.
Yeah, it'd be nice to bend it here so it comes right
Yeah,
off of
I'm
this.
gonna try and do it right.
Put it in the, Put it in the vise and whack that with a hammer.
You don't need to. You can do it with your hands.
Double.
It bends so easy.
I don't love that, but okay.
Yeah, we discovered that.
All these bends I did with my hands.
Cool.
No heat.
No heat. What do you think, Russo? The overlap special on this thing? Is that what you wanted?
Yeah, well, I think that helps it get to where it does.
It literally lines up perfect.
Now we've got the transmission in there. We have to measure for a drive shaft because we've got a Toyota engine, a Nissan transmission, and a Mercedes rear end. So it's like United Colors, a drive shaft over here. And we got to get this thing working. It's a melting pot of car parts. It's beautiful. See, about better, it would have been before you had Japan, America, Germany. You had like the whole thing going.
Yeah.
That was sick. Now we're just doing Japan, Japan, Germany. It'll be American-made drive shaft, though. Don't worry about it. We'll get in there somewhere. Anyway, it's up and in. We're doing a thing. These cars come with a two-piece drive shaft and what's called like a guibo, which is this big rubber donut that takes out isolation, but it doesn't flex like an actual universal joint does. It has to go straight. That's why it goes straight to this thing, and then it's two-piece with another universal joint and goes in, and we're going to simplify all that stuff, get rid of all that junk, make it much stronger. So I bought a flange that I found online that's going to just allow a regular conventional drive shaft flange like this to bolt right to that Mercedes rear end, but we have to take this drive shaft that was in a Supra, we're going to have it lengthened with the right flange put on the back, and it'll bolt right in from our buddies at Hartman Drive Shaft out in Berks County. And we'll be good to go. So this looks to be 44 and a half, and I know that our flange is 1 1/4. So quick math, 43 1/4 and send it. All right, Zimmy, you want to start fixing this steampunk patch panel over here?
I guess.
And I will start knocking out a couple of brackets here, swinging the hammer here,
That one.
a couple other things. Just making the rest of the room we need. That feels weird.
I made it worse for sure. But...
This car got a explosive device in it. What's going on here?
Oh, we left the battery on. Maybe we should turn that off.
What is this? It's got an FCC ID on it, boys. Is this low jack? You got low jack on this thing?
Dude, low jack.
Somebody Google this. S3000-V. That's the part number. It's from the government.
GPS monitor your equipment.
Told you. That's a tracker, son.
Why are
GPS.
they tracking us, dude?
This is weird, man.
Next to like the passenger wall.
Sorry.
Not
Good.
anymore.
She's good. We're good. We're safe. We're off the grid, boys. Or you could go in here, flat, and then like a flat, you know what I mean? Like kind of box it inward.
I guess, yeah.
You got a lot to live up to.
Oh. No, this is a Mercedes. It's not an Escalade.
All of our ability to talk trash is now out the window with these maneuvers.
It's a
I'm with
rat
it.
rod.
I love it. You say it's a sauerkraut rod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut. Rat rod. Sauerkraut. That's it.
It's Oktoberfest coming up.
Perfect.
Ready. I'm telling you, when I'm done, I hate tin work. That's like the one thing.
But you're so good at it.
I mean, that sounds pretty solid.
Oh, does it?
Sounds like a rattle already.
Well, that's because there's Clecos in there. Once I put rivets in, it'll be good.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows how many times I use license plates on the Firebird. 3. It's 3.
3.
Yeah. The holes in the trunk lid for the roll bar, those are license plates, and the firewall block off is a license plate.
Oh, and my Firebird.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Oh, I've seen them.
But most of them aren't the ones that have like dents in them.
They're good license plates.
Flat license
Flat
plates.
ones.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
So it's just good,
heavy duty
good
ones.
sheet metal.
Cool. Look on the side.
1/8 by 8. I always step it up on other people's.
So this is the step up.
Yeah.
Got it.
Have you never seen the firewall in my car?
No, it's
The-
a man
the
of
rear firewall.
cheesecloth.
No, it's just like a sheet of aluminum, but like I did it last minute.
Got it.
is hard. Look at that. Goop-de goop. Goop-de goop-de. Goop-a-dee-doo.
There's a ton of clearance. All right, so I knocked off everything in the tunnel that we need for drive shaft clearance. Zimmy made his license plate magic over here that we're not gonna worry about too much. The last thing we wanna do is raise the tunnel up just a little bit so that we can bring the transmission up, just get that angle a little bit better. It only really hits in this one spot. All right, we have now made enough room, we think, in the tunnel to get our CD009 box up and in this Mercedes SL500. And it's time to start installing all these sweet parts. Basically, all this stuff is from Collins Adapters. Russo got this from a local guy who was running it in his Supra and decided to go with a T56 after this. He said he didn't like the way the clutch engaged, I believe. He didn't like the way it felt, which is probably because he's running a fully, absolutely stiff, insane 7¼ inch Tilton, and that's gonna feel like a dirt bike and an on-off switch at the same time. So we're hoping that this is just right for Russo. I've run this stuff in like a pro drift and it works really good, but it does not really slip. And again, it's very aggressive, but it's gonna be awesome. This is the flywheel, believe it or not. This little Frisbee guy here. It's about the size of my hand. So the deal is you bolt an automatic flex plate to the motor. That's just to give you a place for the starter to engage and spin the motor over. And there's a big machine spacer, this tiny baby flywheel, the rest of the clutch sandwich, and then we're gonna toss our transmission in there. We should be good to go. If we'd bought this new from Collins, there would be cutting of the stock Nissan bell housing, bolting on their adapter, and the Toyota bell housing, but that's all done already. All right, let's get to it. Anytime you are converting from automatic to manual in your car, you have to get a pilot bearing or bushing. This supports the input shaft of the transmission and allows it to spin at a different speed than the engine, happily, so that when you're shifting the clutches in, they can move and happily shift. This normally is where the snout of the torque converter would nestle in there. This guy. And we get to line up like 15 holes. It's quite a sandwich.
Yeah, sure enough.
All right, grab a bolt or two and we'll just get them started.
Put like some sealant on these or something?
So the crankshaft in a Toyota, the factory crankshaft, holes go all the way through, so make sure you use Loctite. That'll work as a sealant. And just make sure you use enough to make sure no oil's gonna come through. All right, let's go 40. Sweet, we have the flywheel set up, all bolted in there. Obviously, it's pretty involved, so make sure you take your time, read the directions, get it right. If you're doing something like this, again, it's just so many adapters, so many things we've already figured out, but you gotta get them right. All right, I'm just gonna use a little brake clean on the flywheel friction surface. I do that anytime I touch brakes or clutches. All this stuff gets, you know, if it's new, it gets shipped with a layer of oily junk on it so it doesn't rust. And if it's used, it's just a nice way to hopefully get any junk that's on there off. This is the middle plate of the clutch. So this touches both clutch discs. It's a sandwich friction plate. 2 friction discs, 1 center plate, and we are ready to just about bolt her into position. And that thing looks pretty cool. Look at that little racing, serious piece right there. Wonder how many SL Mercedes are running around with a Tilton 7¼ inch clutch. Probably just this one. It's gonna be my guess. We made enough room. When you're doing a transmission swap like this into any kind of car, and you test fit it without the clutch on there, it's way easier to just sort of slide it into place. When the clutch is on, you've now got to slide it directly in line with the engine and back out like 4 inches to get it on there. So be aware of that. You need a little more room than you think you do. So the clutch, flywheel, pressure plate, all the discs, everything is dialed in there. The last thing I'm going to do before we throw the transmission on is we're just going to check the air gap between the fingers on the pressure plate here and the throwout bearing. Usually want between, I think it's like 100 and 200ths of an inch. I usually shoot for like 1/8 of an inch because if you don't, essentially either you'll get too much stroke or it won't disengage fully. If you have it too close, then you're always riding on these things and your clutch won't work right. Everything will heat up. You'll go to jail. They'll take your kids from you. You'll lose the shop. Yep.
Pretty serious.
They're gonna make you work in a diamond mine. It's awful. Awful stuff. 15 years hard labor. You don't do that, right? That's how it goes. Or you'll lose the shop. All right, if we don't get this air gap right, we're gonna lose the shop. We've got clients coming to buy this Mercedes. We've got it all ready to go, showroom fresh. We gotta do this. It's kind of tough. They make like these plastic tools, most good clutch makers, that'll allow you to slap this over and get an idea of how tall it's going to be, but we'll just do it ourselves with this sweet transmission mount that Zach made up from the Collins piece. All right, so grab just a ruler and give us a number. All right, so give me from the finger to the middle of that slot.
1 7/8.
Okay. I'm saying the middle of the slot this way. You go to this edge or something good.
Okay.
Something
2.5.
2.5, all right.
Okay, come on.
All right, so on flat ground, that's 5.5. So it's 3. So we believe that the diaphragm is sitting, those fingers are sitting 3 inches in. So we'll just do a straight edge across this thing. That's straight enough. So now I'm just gonna measure from here to here. And we are looking at 2 7/8. It's perfect. 1/8 inch of gap. All right, well, she's good to go. Let her rock. Make sure you have this thing seated all the way back when you're doing that measurement, by the way. Our guys at Injuku Racing are sending us a bunch of turbo parts that you're gonna see probably in the next 10 minutes for this car, once we get the transmission in. But we needed a clutch line, so they sent us over actually their 240SX clutch line that lets you delete the factory hard line. And then we think that's going to work just fine to get from here up in the car and to our pedal. It's sweet. And I like running these lines that have this abrasion resistance on them. This little sleeve, it really helps. I wish Barb was here with his tiny fingers. Right now they're wrapped around a Mai Tai, I'm sure. So this is the feed line, and then this actually is just a bleed line. You mount up in the car, open, pump the clutch, bleed it, lock it down, then you're ready to rock. One thing you do want to do anytime you're using a hydraulic throwout bearing this style is you have to put a clutch stop in the car or it will overstroke and bend those fingers and wreck everything. Something you totally have to do, and we will do it as soon as we can. As soon as we put a pedal in, then we'll make a stop for it. All right, that's it. We're ready to throw this thing in. All right. I had Colin roll up from Wolf Metalworks. It's his shop. He's an incredible fabricator. Do your best to not look in this general vicinity. He's going to help us lift this transmission up into this car.
Like this.
And then like bring that. Yeah. Hold on. Ready?
Yeah, my hand is too big to fit in here. Hey Zach, you want to put your hand just under the... There you go. Yeah, I'm good. You want to go line it up?
Just give her a wiggle. We're already in the clutch.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Thanks, bro.
Throw that jack on
You
there.
giant Viking human being. All right, so that's it. Our 350Z transmission is up and in our 2JZ powered Mercedes. Boom, boom, boom. We got a couple things left to do. Clutch pedal, drive shaft, some engine upgrades, and then we will be ripping around town in this car. I cannot wait because this thing is so cool. So we wanted to ditch our 2-piece drive shaft and just get a regular slip yoke 1-piece shaft in there. We found on Ben's Force, these guys called Ben's Force. I'm just gonna say Ben's Force again. Old Ben's Force. They make this adapter plate that goes to a regular Spicer joint that bolts up to it. It's MBT4-110 for this chassis. It works great. And then we had Hartman Drive Shaft make a sweet 1-piece drive shaft. So we're in business now. No more slop, no more center bushing that can fail, and no more guibo to soften anything up. So it's just full hardcore all the time.
Yo, Tug. Thank you.
That's the last time I'll ever give you a quote-unquote little tug. All right, we're really close to driving our 2JZ, well, Russo's 2JZ powered Mercedes. We've got the transmission in. Zach went and put in the W124 chassis pedals. They do work with a little bit of clearancing. We bled the clutch. It actually seems to work fine. It's got a clutch stop in it. We put on a fresh set of Falcon tires wrapped around a set of Brabus, I don't know how to say it. Brabus wheels, 18-inch wheels that Russo bought. They look sick, and we're just about ready to hit the road. I threw the exhaust back on, bolted a battery in it, popped the hood. Let's see if she'll fire right up. Attaboy. There she is. She's ready to rock. All right, fire it up. Let's see what we got. We're gonna take her out on the road and see what this thing's like. I love this car. Push the button. I'll get it. Fresh set of plugs too. We're ready to rock. Lot of slip, baby. So it's got a 265 rear gear. It's not helping anybody. Wow. Yeah, I don't know how much gas you got in her.
Growing for the first time.
Oh yeah, here we go. The motor sounds good. Doesn't feel like it's making any power. I don't know if it's dialed in right. I mean, it feels like it's falling pretty flat.
Before, like, it was so long for that converter and the boost to build up.
That's what I'm wondering.
It was
like,
wild.
It almost feels like sort of the same thing, but I don't know yet.
It was like
it's just like a super laggy. Yeah, this feels like even in manual, it feels like that. One of the reasons I was stoked to do this project is this was a car that, like, so I built it on Hot Rod Garage, and it made a whole bunch of horsepower. I did a thing. It was like 2JZ versus LS versus Cummins, like battle of the internet motors. And they all worked awesome, but we never got this in a car working right. Like, this car never did anything. We put it together. I drove it one day with a Ferrari and stuff, but the transmission never worked right because the converter was all wrong. And I was like, it'd be cool. I'm excited to have this manual in it, but I'm trying to figure out if we're getting all dialed in here. It just feels like these gears are crazy long. I got a little feel for her now, but it's tough. She's tough. We're gonna learn by the end of this slow uphill. I'll get this clutch figured out. It is like basically a full metal tilt and set. There she is. She got me. Just trying to talk. Wearing my work boots. It's the wrong day for that.
Yeah, we need to get you some toe shoes, I think.
I'm about to take these shoes off. Let's go full feet. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm floored, I'm gonna go anywhere. I just don't know if it's like something's going on with the motor or not. But let's get some gas in her and see. It's like letting the boost out. That's the wastegate opening. mean? Like, we gotta figure out what's going on here. Call up Brad and see what he's doing. You got no gate. You got water temp, boost, oil pressure, but
Just the basics.
it's not gonna tell us if like the TPS isn't working or. If they give him 10 or 15, I'll call me back, but he's at the shop.
Hey.
Let's head out that way.
Yeah. Hey, Brad, we're coming.
Yeah, cool. Make this thing work, dude. We want to see how to get this Mercedes running right so we can feel full 2JZ power. So we're heading over to PSR Performance where our tuner buddy Brad is going to give this thing a look-see.
Sounds like it's loading up real hard.
It either needs like 20, it needs like 25 degrees more timing or something. It's not running at all.
Yeah.
I only really hit the gas that one time on the highway just now,
Yeah.
just to see like would it do anything, because it was like out of everything. It just was like falling on its face.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, going.
Hey, Brad.
What's up, dude? Make this to make a bunch of
This thing
horsepower.
stinks.
Yeah, I know that.
What's it leaking?
Most fluids.
Do you want to put it? Oh, it's leaking out of the timing cover. Water pump's leaking. See that?
Yeah, look at that.
Is that oil or water?
That's oil. I thought it was coming from here,
Oh,
maybe.
it is oil. Yeah, I bet you one of the cam seals is leaking.
But it also doesn't make any horsepower.
Why?
I don't know. That's what we're here
Fix
for.
this real quick.
Yeah, just real quick, I'll just.
Yo, do the wizard thing.
I don't know. It feels like it needs like 25 degrees more timing. Like it's the laziest.
This has
No
the
bottom
AEM in
end.
it?
Yeah. Very strange.
We should probably figure out what that oil leak is before we blow it up.
That sounds good. It's got good oil pressure. We just put plugs in it. They work. They came out like caked in black soot.
Typical 2J.
But like, man, it's got obviously a big, I think it's a T66 on
It
it.
looks like a 66. 67.
Yeah.
Well, the dyno's open.
All right, should we throw it on?
You find as well.
But I'd like to fix. Let's see if we can get it to make some horsepower. That would be dope, because I love this car.
Put it in and we'll pull that cover and see what the oil leak is.
Yeah, that sounds good. They're awesome. Got it. We are out of time. That is it for this episode of Stay Tuned. I hope Russo's car isn't hurt. I feel like this one maybe isn't my fault also, but we're gonna take care of it. He's behind the camera grinning. We're gonna sort it out. You have to stay tuned for the next installment of making this 2J finally rip. It's got that 350Z transmission in it. It's working pretty well once I got figured out the clutch, which is gnarly. And I just wanna see this thing make 500 horsepower and rip around, top down, spirits up, having a blast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.